Hello. I'm actually going to pull this up on my phone. Hold on one second. Oops. Where's my, here we go. I just want to be here, and I'm just going to pull it up here and see if anybody comes in. Okay. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to Wellness Wednesdays. If this is your first Wednesday, my name's Meryl, the host of your group here. I come here every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for 30 minutes, offering you some emotional healing and clearing on different themes. And today is how to communicate better, improve your communication in your relationships. And that's all relationships, not just personal, but professional as well. Helping you to feel more empowered, to stand, feel grounded and safe and comfortable, really expressing yourself and standing up for yourself. And valuing your feelings, your beliefs, your values, right? Really honoring yourself and not abandoning yourself anymore. So that's what we're going to work on today. I always say, just be open-minded, and I'll explain a little bit as we go through. So we will be doing some EFT tapping in here, and also what's called optimal EFT. I'll explain a little bit about that, but I don't like to take up too much time in these videos to really go in depth on what those are all about. I have plenty of other videos for that. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask, and I can always send you a good video that explains more. I have plenty on my website and my blog that would be really helpful to watch. And so today, let's get into our subject. All right, so communicating. So this comes up a lot working with my clients. And it absolutely has come up with me, in my past as well, in not so much in business, but in my personal relationships, where I'll say in my romantic relationships, more than just friendships with other girlfriends and things like that. But I would say that was where I felt like I needed to kind of, protect myself from being hurt if I was going to really stand in my power. I wasn't taught as a young kid, or as a teenager, how to really navigate through relationships, especially with men. Or no one said to me, Meryl, you need to, value yourself and figure out what your values are so that you can value yourself when you're in relationships, and really learn to say no to other people and yes to yourself, right? So I had to learn that myself, which was not that easy, but it's given me all this experience to help you. And I'm grateful for that. I really do believe that I am here in this physical reality to learn a whole bunch of things about myself so that I can help my family energetics heal, and help other women heal the ways that they don't stand up for themselves, so that it can be spread among, the world globally. So my mission is big. So I'd love any help you can possibly give by healing yourself so it spreads through your own family, and maybe sharing this with anybody that you know, or inviting them into my community or to my email list, just so that we can keep spreading the inspiration and wealth here. Okay, so I always kind of go back to, why do you hesitate standing up for yourself in your relationships? And it always goes back to something from your past, right? So how did you communicate with your mother? How did you communicate with your father? And that's if you had them. How did you communicate with your siblings if you had them? Right? So were you told to stay quiet? Were you made fun of and criticized? Maybe your family upbringing seemed to be fine, but kids around you made fun of you. Or maybe you had some experiences with men where they picked on you, or criticized you in some way, and then what that does is it creates this feeling within you that you're not enough to just be who you are. You have to kind of be somebody else or be less than who you really are in order to be liked, right? And in order to be accepted, in order to be loved. And then you end up in relationships that are not really working for you anymore, right? So let's just go into some work here, right? So EFT, we're going to start with some EFT tapping. And what EFT stands for is Emotional Freedom Technique. You can start tapping right on the side of your hand here. It doesn't matter which side. Some people do both sides of the hands together. I started with that, but I don't do that anymore. I just do this. It's just gentle tapping. And this, we're going to go through the basic recipe of tapping points, and it's tapping on your Chinese energy meridian points, which are connected to emotional feelings in your body and physical sensations. And it's connected to your nervous system. And all of this helps to manage your emotions and manage and balance your nervous system, balance your emotion. It helps to reduce stress, anxiety, and heal all of your limiting beliefs. That's what we work on here, right? So this is going to give you a general overview, and definitely a boost to how you're feeling about communicating. And then if you want to work further, reach out, right? So we're just tapping here and taking a deep breath in through your nose, and a big sigh out. And then again, top of the head here. I got something in my eye. So you can do top of the head with one or both hands. I'm just on top of my head towards the back a little bit. You can do both hands. I typically do one right on the top. All 5 fingers I use. Deep breath in. And out. And then inside the eyebrow. So I take 2 fingers right where the eyebrows start. It can be both hands. Just tapping. Deep breath in. And out. And then outside the eyes, it can be one or both sides, and you can switch. And again, inhale, maybe 2, 3, 4. Pause. And exhale all the way out. And then under the eyes, again, it can be both hands if you want. So it's right on top of the cheekbone. Deep breath in. And out. And then under the nose, this is just one hand, not 2. Inhale. And really blow it out hard. The breathing helps to move energy, move emotions, and clear out some clutter, I call it. Right on the chin, this is just one hand, or I just use the 2 fingers. And again, deep breath in. And out. And under the collarbone. Now, I like this point. This is the top of the end point of the kidney meridian, which has to do with fear and anxiety. And it happens to be my favorite point. It's really connected and close to the vagus nerve and the thymus gland, and which is good for your immune system. And the vagus nerve is all about your parasympathetic nervous system, right? So quelling and calming everything. So this just feels really, really good to me. Tapping here. And a deep breath in. Right, and out. And then under the arm, it's about 4 inches under your armpit. So for women, right next to your bra, right on the bra strap. All right, and just tapping there. And you can do both sides this way, or it can be this way if it's tough to reach around. Right, and I always say, if a point is uncomfortable for you, just hold your hand there and just have the intention of tapping. Right, and take a deep breath in. And out. Right, it can be like the most subtle touching on that point, because it's really more about the intention. So now close your eyes and just let that settle in. Notice maybe what's changed in your mind or your body about maybe feeling a little more calm. A little more grounded, maybe more focused. Maybe you can take deeper breaths now. And now I'll ask, what is one situation where you have a fear or uncomfortable or something is, you're hesitating and second guessing yourself about having a difficult conversation with someone? So there might be many, and I understand, but for this work, you want to focus on the most important one, the most intense one for you. Because when you work on that, you can tend to wipe out other ones that are bothering you. And I'll say, you don't necessarily have to believe in this work and believe in the tapping and all that. It's really just following along and just going through the motions. That's important. So coming up with your one thing, and then I'd like you to rate the intensity. Even though I want to have this difficult conversation, I'm feeling what? about it. And that feels like what number on the scale of 0 to 10? 0, no intensity, 10, crazy intensity. And just take a moment and come up with your number. And it's the first one. The first one that comes in. And then if your logical mind is trying to figure out what it is, just go back to trusting your intuition. That's your intuition talking to you. Right? So if you are at an 8, like above a 7, I'd like you to do the tapping and breathing that we just did again and get yourself to the 7 or lower before we go into the next exercise, which is tapping with words. So typically we tap with words that pertain to whatever your issue is, and that is what helps to clear it out. So you're going to repeat after me, and I realize that I'm just using my intuition here, so it might not pertain exactly to your words or issue, but just fill in the blanks and go with the flow of it, and you'll absolutely get some results from this. So here we go. Even though I feel, fill in the blank, because I want to have this difficult conversation with who? And I'm just choosing to honor how I feel about it right now. And even though I feel blank about having this difficult conversation with, I'm choosing to love and accept myself as I am. If you feel it, say it. If not, honor how you feel or acknowledge how you feel. And then one more time. We say it 3 times so that your subconscious knows exactly what we're working on. Even though I feel blank about having this difficult conversation with, I'm choosing to be open to the possibility of feeling more comfortable doing it, of feeling neutral about it, right? And I also want to clarify that I talk a lot about removing events, right? Like as we do this work, this will remove some emotional clutter of what's going on. Just keep tapping. And it will help you to dive deeper to the places that you need to go. And your wisdom is going to be able to guide you there because we've cleared out this clutter. So we just keep digging and digging, and there could be lots of ways that you fear expressing yourself because of a root cause. And we want to get to that root cause, right? And that's what I do very easily when I work with my clients one-on-one. And then all of the ways that that root cause seems to be true is what we wipe out, right? So I fear having difficult conversations because my father used to get the belt or something when or one time, maybe it was one time, my father got the belt when I was doing some funny skit in the living room when I was 5. And ever since then, I've had a fear of really standing up for myself. But not everybody understands that. And not everybody understands that the energy of that event is still stuck in your subconscious, sometimes in your unconscious, and that needs to be healed. And that is making you feel like you have this tabletop type of issue that is, I don't feel safe to express myself, right? And then every time you go to do that, and then you hesitate, and then something happens where you're like frustrated, right? You're frustrated by your significant other is disrespecting you or not helping out enough or something like that. And you just say, yeah, see, like, I don't know, nothing ever goes my way, or see, right? Um, I'll just never be happy in this relationship, or my relationships are just never supportive, or right. And it could be, I'm just giving, scenarios here that and all of these instances are like legs under the table, right? Your tabletop issue is, I fear that I have this fear that I can't express myself safely. And then all the legs of the table are all these events of where you try and you hesitate, and you try and you hesitate, and you're like, see, I can't do it. See, see, I can't. And it's just like this constant, right, cycle of, I can speak up for myself, and no, I can't, and then I can, and then I can't, and then, right. So this is what we are helping to heal for you. And this is just like the beginning layers of it, of course. So, all right, I went off on a little bit of a tangent, but okay. So let's just do one more time, because I was talking there for a minute. But even though I feel blank about having this difficult conversation with, I'm just choosing to love and accept myself as I am, or honor myself, or acknowledge. And then we'll go here. And you're going to fill in the blank. I feel, right? Is it fear, worry, doubt, whatever it is? I'm hesitating, I'm anticipating, whatever your word is. And say it here, all this fear, all this worry, right? Put in just one word outside the eyes, all this. And under the eyes, all this. And under the nose, all this. And on the chin, this blank, right? Fill in the blank. And then under the collarbone, add a deep breath in here. Right? All this. I just got an energetic shift, which I love. And under the arm, all this. Okay, so let's just pause. It's good to take a cleansing breath after a tapping round. Which is the same as what we were doing before. In through your nose and out your mouth. And now ask yourself, right? I fear or worry or doubt or whatever your words are about having this difficult conversation is what number now? And then do you notice anything that's shifted in your body since we've been in this session? Right? We did one round of tapping and breathing, and then we just did a round on your issue. So do you notice that there is a lighter feeling somewhere, or less tense, or your shoulders are dropped, or maybe you're sitting up a little bit taller because you're feeling a little bit better about yourself? What is it that you notice? And then you can do another round on your own, right? You don't have to go back to the even though. You can just say, this fear in my belly, right? This anxious fear in my belly, this tight anxious fear in my chest, right? And you can play with the words, play with your emotion and the physical sensation, and put it together and do a whole nother round in that. Ooh, I'm getting lots of energy movement and chills, which means that something is really shifting. And even though there is no one watching this at the time that I'm recording it, it doesn't matter, because this means that I'm connecting to, wow. This means that I'm connecting to other people that are out there that are going through the same thing. And even though they're not watching this, someone is hearing it, right? If you believe in the law of oneness, right? Like someone is energetically feeling this from me. Okay, so now you'll just close your eyes in your seat, and we'll go into the next piece, which is the optimal EFT, which is a non-tapping spiritual form of energy healing and EFT. So all you need to do is just relax and listen. So recall a loving moment. So I have a moment with my first cat when I used to come home from work, when I had a nail salon before I did this. And every day I'd come in from work and I'd pick her up, and she would take her paws and put one on either side of my chin and pull me in for a kiss, right? So that is one of my loving moments. I have a loving moment where I used to hop into bed in the middle of the night when I had a bad dream with my father. So it really can be any moment with a pet, or a kid, your child or significant other or anything. And you can always make one up. And this just is bringing in unconditional love for you. And this is how we can connect to our higher power. Here we call her the unseen therapist. She's unseen, just like any higher power is in the invisible. And she's just like giving us therapy, helping to divinely guide us to where we need to go in order to heal and move forward. You can take deep breaths if you need to. Keep just focusing on your loving moment. And you can say out loud or just imagine saying, help me to feel more comfortable having this difficult conversation. I want to feel more confident having difficult conversations. I want to feel more comfortable. Whatever your words are, you can just send it up. I surrender it to you, and I'm open to the messages that I'm receiving. They might not come now. They could come tonight, in a few days, maybe in a few weeks. And now come to your heart center. And we have this subtle energy system in our bodies called the chakra system. And there's points from the base of your spine to the crown of your head. So the heart chakra is right in the middle of your chest. So come to that space. And the color for the heart chakra is emerald green. That's what I use. And you just want to imagine that emerald green color expanding in your whole body. So maybe it starts in your heart space and it expands up to the crown of your head, down through your torso. It's like it's vibrating in there, this green, emerald green energy. This is unconditional loving energy. It's like you're a sponge and you're just filling up all the holes with this green energy, down through your pelvis, through your legs to your feet, and down your arms to your hands, in and out of all of your organs. So I'm doing the same thing, imagining this green energy in my body, and it is emanating out of my body into the world. All right. Coming back to this green energy back into your heart space. And when you're ready, you can start to make some movements. So if you want, you're welcome to watch the replay and just go through this exercise again. You can stay and practice that green, loving, unconditional loving energy in your body. It is very healing and very helpful. I do that as well as regular tapping in my sessions with all my clients, and it gives them incredibly fast results to feeling more confident and comfortable standing up for themselves. So self-care homework, instead of the word homework, it's really self-care for yourself, would be to keep checking in on the number scale every day. How do I feel about this difficult conversation? And keep plugging away at it, and it's like you keep chipping away at it with all the tapping that you can do on it. And I do 30-day challenges because I believe that it takes at least that long in order to change behaviors and thought processes and all that. I think even longer than that, especially if you've had them your whole life. Scientific studies say it takes at least 8 weeks to start to rewire your brain. So that's why when I work with my clients, it's at least that or longer. So if you have any questions or need any help, please reach out. Comment #replay in here would be great. And I will see you next week. All right, bye for now.